Ground beef chili is the Rodney Dangerfield of the chili world.
It gets no respect, no respect. Well, for most people, ground beef chili is a little more than various cans of this and that, seasoned up with some stale old chili powder. There's not much chili love going on there.
But for this chili, we tore the recipe apart at the seams and uncovered something huge. It's gonna rock your chili world. And believe it or not, starts with the chili.
That's huge!
Well, this is a real chili. This is an ancho chili, which is a dried poblano chili. And this makes all the difference when you make a chili if you make your own chili powder. It's very easy. It just takes the chili to the next level. So,
sweet.
When you buy dried chilies, you want to look for ones that are bendable like this. If they're very stale and dry and they snap apart, it's old, and you don't want that. They don't have enough flavor when they're old.
Okay.
So, to prep dried chilies, you just want to tear them apart and get rid of that woody stem and any seeds that are inside. And they usually just kind of shake out. There we go. A few seeds are okay, but most of the seeds just fall right out. And then for the rest of the chili, we're gonna walk over to this pot and we're just gonna tear it up into pieces that are about inch and a half in size. And in here, I already have some others. So this is a total of 6 ancho chilies. And now we're gonna toast them over medium-high heat. And we're gonna toast them for 4 to 6 minutes till you start to smell them. And at no point should this pot be smoking. So if you see it smoking, pull it off the heat and save those chilies.
All right.
I'm leaving you in charge.
I'm on chili alert.
You are. All right, so now on to the main ingredient in our chili. It's beef, and here we have 2 pounds of ground beef, and this is 85% lean. And that's crucial for chili because you want that extra fat to help flavor the chili and keep the meat moist as it cooks.
And 85% lean is often called ground chuck.
That's right. And so to help this meat really maintain its moisture as it simmers, we're gonna add some special ingredients. We're gonna add a little water, 2 tablespoons of water, a little salt. This is a teaspoon and a half of salt. But here's the special guy. This is baking soda. And this is 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. So that baking soda does 2 key things. One, it helps that meat hold on to moisture so that it stays good and juicy during the simmering time. And 2, it helps the meat brown more quickly.
We often think of baking soda being added to things like cookie dough to help it brown faster, but as Julia mentioned, we add it to meat. We also use it on roast chicken, helps that skin brown quickly, and even stir fry. Soak the meat in a solution of water, salt, and baking soda, and it browns just like that.
So I'm gonna dissolve all this in the water. That looks pretty good. Now we're gonna add this 2 pounds of ground beef. So now I'm just gonna toss this all together and make sure that baking soda salt mixture really evenly coats the meat. We're gonna let this sit on the counter for about 20 minutes. All right, now how are our chilies doing over there? I can start to smell them. They smell good.
Oh, they smell great. Yep, I think they are good to go.
Oh, nice. All right, so we're just gonna take these out of the skillet and add it right to a food processor, because of course we are gonna turn this into chili powder. All right, so these chilies have been cooling. And I wanna point out how crisp they are and how quickly they will break down into a nice chili powder.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously we're gonna add a few more ingredients to help round out the flavor, starting with tortilla chips. This is an ounce of tortilla chips, and classically chili is thickened with masa, but rather than track down masa, we're just gonna add some tortilla chips, which help thicken the chili and also help bulk up the mixture in this food processor, so this will grind down evenly. So, it's a twofer. Now we're gonna add some more spices, and here we have 2 tablespoons of ground cumin, a tablespoon of ground paprika, a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of ground coriander, along with 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. And here's a little kick, 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Last but not least, a little thyme. And this is a little unusual, but it adds a nice floral note that you're not expecting. This is just half a teaspoon of dried thyme. Now we have to grind this for a while in the food processor. It takes about 2 minutes, but we're looking for a nice finely ground powder. All right, let's take a look here and see what we got. Oh, first thing you notice is that smell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking for big pieces of chilies left behind, and I'm not seeing any. It looks pretty finely ground, so I think we're good to go.
Oh, it smells great.
Yeah, obviously a very different playing field when you make your own chili powder. This thing has real flavor. All right, so we're just gonna set this aside in a bowl. And now we're gonna process some tomatoes for our chili. And this is a 14.5-ounce can of whole peeled tomatoes and juice. We're just gonna process them for about 30 seconds until they're nice and smooth. So I'm just gonna let them hang out in there while we get cooking. So in this pot here, I have a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And if you could please put that over medium-high heat, we're just gonna get that pot hot while I chop an onion. And so to cut an onion, first I cut down, going right to but not through that root end. And then I slice in the other direction, again, right to, but not through that end. And then last but not least, you slice down into a nice chop. How's our oil looking? Is it looking pretty hot and a little shimmery?
It is definitely shimmery.
All right. So now I'm gonna add this onion. And I love using these bench scrapers because it's a really easy way to move food around from the cutting board to the stove. We're just gonna cook this over medium-high heat until it's soft, and that takes about 4 to 6 minutes. All right, so those onions are nicely softened. Now we're gonna add some garlic, and this is 3 minced cloves of garlic. We're gonna let it cook for about a minute so you can really start to smell that garlic. That smells pretty good. Now we're gonna add the beef. So very often recipes will tell you to add it in batches and to brown it. You don't wanna crowd the pan. I am crowding the pan, but it's okay, it's gonna brown anyway because of our baking soda trick.
It's very crowded.
So I'm just gonna cook this, breaking up the meat into small pieces until it's nice and brown on the bottom of the pot, and that takes about 12 to 14 minutes. Oh, it smells beefy.
Oh, definitely, and tons of color in there. I actually was doubting Julia a little bit on that whole baking soda to brown trick. But you see all that ground beef is beautifully browned.
And some of that beef has rendered its fat, which makes it a perfect time to add our spice mixture because most of these spices are oil soluble. Also some chipotles. As you know, chipotles are smoked jalapenos, and they're quite spicy. So you can add 1 to 2 teaspoons of this. I went all in, 2 teaspoons for us.
I can take
Good and
it.
spicy, yeah. Just adds a really nice smoky flavor. We're just gonna stir this for a minute or two, really to bloom those spices before we add the rest of the ingredients.
And I have to say, that was quite a bit of chili powder, the homemade chili powder that you added there. You know, sometimes you see chili recipes that only add a tablespoon or 2 of chili powder. This is putting the chili first. Beef goes in the back seat.
That's right. Oh, kind of just want to eat it right now.
Yeah, me too.
But we're not. So now I'm going to add some liquid. This is just 2 cups of water. So this is a 15-ounce can of pinto beans, and I'm also going to add the canning liquid because that liquid is the cooking liquid, and it has good flavor and it'll help thicken up the chili.
And we have Texas online too to talk about beans.
It's ground beef chili.
That's true.
Always has beans, so no controversy here.
No.
I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar. This is 2 teaspoons of sugar. Last but not least, our tomatoes, right from the food processor. All right, let's give this a good stir.
Oh, now that's starting to look like chili.
Doesn't it? Oh, it just looks good. So we're just gonna bring this to a simmer and then we're gonna cook it in the oven. It's really gonna need 1.5 to 2 hours of simmering time in order to turn tender.
Cooking ground beef in a chili for 1.5 to 2.5 hours sounds like a long time, and it is, but that is on purpose. You know, most recipes will take a recipe for ground beef chili and only cook it for a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. But you really do get tough pieces of meat in the chili. This helps that beef to break down and all the collagen that's in the beef turn to gelatin, much more tender chili.
That's right. So I brought this up to a simmer. Now I'm gonna put a lid on it and we're gonna cook it in the oven, a low oven, 275 degrees, till that meat is tender, and again, that's 1.5 to 2 hours. So that chili was in the oven for 2 hours, and then I've let it sit here uncovered for about 10 minutes to cool off a bit before we eat it. You notice it's got that layer of fat on the top. Now you might be tempted to take it off, but don't do it. Leave the fat, because remember, those spices are oil soluble. So a lot of their flavor is in that fat. And if you skim it off, you'll lose flavor, but also the chili's gonna taste too lean. So stir it in.
We do not want lean chili, Julia.
No. And we're also gonna finish it with a little bit of vinegar. This is 2 tablespoons of cider vinegar. And of course, we're gonna season it with a little salt. Let me see what it needs. Just a little salt. She's ready.
Yes.
Oh, you're gonna like it. I'm gonna put a little extra in your bowl because once you start eating this stuff, it's kind of hard to stop. All right, so now toppings. I'm gonna start with a little bit of chopped fresh cilantro and a little bit of minced red onion. And here we have some shredded cheese and some diced avocado, a little dollop of sour cream, and to finish, just a spritz of lime juice. Oh. This is like no ground meat chili you've ever had before.
Serious respect for this chili. I mean, it is so much like the chunk chilies, you know, where we cut up a whole chuck roast into big chunks. It's got that same developed flavor.
Yeah, the sauce almost has that gravy-like texture of that real Texas chili.
All in all, this is excelente. So you don't have to sacrifice flavor for convenience with ground beef chili. Nix pre-made chili powder and make your own. Toast ancho chilies on the stovetop and then process with spices and tortilla chips. Now for tender beef, add baking soda when you brown it and then build the chili sauce and cook it in an oven for up to 2 hours until rich and thickened. And don't forget to serve with plenty of toppings. And there you have it, from our test kitchen to your kitchen, the very best ground beef chili. Seriously.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.